This heat ain't no joke,
It's just astounding.
But there's no
and we
reason
begin with
why
this
leave a
newly
baby
released
in
body
the car
camera video
unattended.
shows a dramatic moment. Arizona police officers rescued a baby left inside a hot car. Stacey Holly was arrested in June after forgetting her 5-month-old in a Target parking lot for nearly an hour. The infant did survive, fortunately. Chris Van Cleve is following this story. Chris, how exactly did this happen?
Well, good morning. The distraught mother is heard over and over again saying that it was an accident and she doesn't know how she forgot her baby was in that car. And that's a shockingly common answer when these things happen. Time and time again, the parents say they simply forgot the baby was there. It's something that has turned deadly at least 85 times in the last 2 years alone. This is the moment 37-year-old Stacey Holly realized she did the unimaginable.
I honestly don't know how it happened.
Holly forgot her 5-month-old baby daughter inside her car parked in the hot Arizona sun while she shopped at a Target with her sister and 6-year-old daughter. Surveillance video shows Holly walking inside the store. Then nearly an hour later, she heads back to the car, realizes what's happened, and calls 911. While the temperature outside was 100 degrees, inside a car, it can jump to 134 in just 30 minutes. On average, 38 children die a year in hot cars in the United States. Last month in New York, 1-year-old twins Phoenix and Luna died after their father, 39-year-old Iraq War veteran Juan Rodriguez, accidentally left them in a hot car while he went to work. Her child was okay. Congress is now considering a law that would require new cars to come standard with a warning system to alert drivers about somebody in the back seat. Some vehicles already come with that feature. Now, Holly has been charged with endangerment and reckless child abuse. She pleaded not guilty. Anthony.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I mean, you know, as she says, you see these stories and you think, how can anybody do this? Apparently, it's easier than we think.
And we now know what killed a 19-year-old University of Maryland football player. Jordan McNair's family says he died in May from heat stroke after a supervised practice. But how does a young, healthy man die from a heat-related illness? WMAR 2 News' Nadia Singh talked to a doctor who says it can happen to anybody.
Young people and athletes can die in these situations is because you can just say, well, it's really hot outside. I'm just pushing myself and trying to be the best athlete I can be.
But doing that can be deadly, like it was for Jordan McNair, a University of Maryland freshman who was once just like these Dunbar High School players.
Obviously, with things like heat stroke and heat exhaustion, those are things that can kill you. We saw that with Jordan McNair.
Coach Ty Johnson has seen his share of young talent like McNair. He and his team are vigilant when players are in hot weather.
Kids' safety is at the forefront of everything that we do. So we have an organized 8-week program with a progression of heat climatization, just to prepare the bodies for heat.
A healthy young man, McNair died from heat stroke after an organized practice.
Heat can be deadly to anybody, old, young, and there's a whole spectrum of heat-related illnesses, ranging from anything from just kind of feeling hot and uncomfortable. Some people will get what's called a heat rash.
Exerting yourself while exercising can get very serious very quickly.
As you get towards the more severe end of the spectrum, you have things like heat exhaustion and finally heat stroke, which is the most severe type.
And without proper hydration and tempering outside time with AC time, it can be deadly.
Once you develop heat stroke, which simply means that your body temperature is elevated, it's almost as if you have a fever, you have a high body temperature, and on top of that you also have changes in mental status, confusion, you can pass out, you can be very erratic.
Signs coaches are always looking for.
Heat stroke is considered the most severe of all the heat illnesses. Prior to heat stroke, some people can experience what's called heat exhaustion. Signs and symptoms would include, obviously, feeling thirsty, nausea, vomiting, cool, clammy skin, shortness of breath sometimes, lightheadedness, core body temperature between 101 and 104 is categorized as heat exhaustion. Heat exhaustion ultimately can lead to heat stroke when people have mental status changes or confusion, or their core body temperature goes above 104. Heat stroke ultimately can lead to loss of consciousness, seizures, organ failure, and ultimately even death. People that are the most vulnerable to heat illnesses would be children and infants, elderly, people that work outside during the heat of the day, maybe athletes if they're out during the day. And obviously, there's been a lot of press over the last few years about children and infants, as well as pets in hot cars. Staying hydrated, drinking plenty of water, not waiting till you feel thirsty to start to drink water. By then, you're behind in your volume status. At least drink non-caffeinated and non-alcoholic beverages, but water is best. Wear loose-fitting clothing, wear a hat, wear sunscreen, at least SPF 30 or above, and apply it liberally and often. If you're going to be outside, try to avoid the hottest times of the day, which would be around 10 o'clock and